Talk about the Phoenix Suns. Obviously, they are without Chris Paul for basically the rest of the regular season. Chris Paul is expected to be back for the playoffs, but they had a 6.5 game cushion in the Western Conference going into this game, and they beat the Thunder yesterday. To me, they're my favorites to come out of the Western Conference, regardless of the Chris Paul news. What about you?
It was great to see SGA return for OKC, and I have to agree with my daughter Mariah. He got the best fashion in the league right now. For the Suns, it was great to see Devin Booker, the playmaker.
Yep.
Because so many times, if you lose your backcourt mate and you've been the best backcourt in the league, there's two ways to do this, Jacoby. Are you going to try to score more, or are you going to try to make everybody around you better? And that's what I appreciate about how Monty Williams, and shout out to James Jones, Jay Hoops, my former teammate with the Suns, their president, GM, doing a great job. That's how their squad is built out, for depth. And so having multiple players get in double figures and contribute doesn't put all of the offensive pressure solely on Devin Booker, a guy we've seen score 70 already in his young NBA career.
And one of the things that the Suns did, which is key if you watched last year's playoffs, is they added more depth in the front court with JaVale McGee and Bismack Biyombo. So it's not just DeAndre Ayton or Frank Kaminsky like it was last year in the playoffs. They needed Dario Saric, who got hurt last year in the playoffs. That depth up front is going to really help them when they make their playoff run. We did our tiers yesterday, and one of the things I disagreed with is you had the Warriors and the Suns as the same tier in the Western Conference. I have the Suns alone as my favorite in the West. Would you consider that now?
I'm not mad at that. They should jockey for position, and the Suns deserve the edge because they're the team that made it to the finals last year. Still got to see a healthy Draymond Green. What are they going to get from Wiseman? I love the ascension of Kuminga. You're going to get Chris Paul back if you're the Suns. But I believe those are still the two best teams in the West. And if I had to pick today, this would be the West. They would be the Western Conference Finals matchup.
When the Chris Paul injury news came down the wire, I was very concerned for the Suns. And then I thought about it, and I was like, wait a second. Chris Paul was injured in the playoffs last year. Remember, he could barely lift his arm up over his head? So I feel like this time off will give Chris Paul what he needs to rest up and be 100% for the playoffs. Could this actually, low-key, be an advantage for Chris Paul in the Suns?
I think it's good. Chris Paul will make it an advantage. And I just want to acknowledge his leadership and his professionalism. As we just talked about James Harden, we're going to talk about him basically quitting on the Houston Rockets and the Nets. Mm-hmm. But just think about this. And I want every young person to take solace in Chris Paul's journey. When he left the Clippers, people were crapping on his name. When he left the Rockets, people were crapping on his name. James Harden, he didn't get it done. He went to OK Siberia to reinvent himself, Jacoby. And he didn't say, I'm not playing. You see what I mean? He went there, he led, he earned his stripes, and then they were like, you know what? We're going to reward you and trade you to a better situation. And now he's on a team that's the defending Western Conference champion, playing with the best backcourt in the league, has become the best clutch performer in the league, and I love what he's doing right now, representing the HBCU. So shout to CP3.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.